Episode 56, KC, October 18, 2023. International Day of Action v. Big Biomass. October 19, 2023. Pizza smokes out neighbor. https://www.facebook.com/momscleanairforce. There's nothing radical about wanting to live in a habitable planet. Doctors and scientists against wood smoke pollution. Smoke stories. Canada, British Columbia, Vancouver. Pizza smokes out neighbor. https://www.dsosb.org/personal stories/pizza restaurant smokes out home FBC lid equals I war GEZGTSOHGKDFMXYSW_ZPLGYAVAMHXIAT LEP GPUEY excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission, Particulates Corporation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Pizza restaurant smokes out home. At the height of COVID restrictions and stay-at-home orders in 2020, a new restaurant opened just a few doors down from our mixed-use building. What was once a wonderful, cozy, coffee shop, became, without warning or neighborhood consultation, an Italian cuisine restaurant featuring a large, custom-built pizza oven that burns wood. Lots of wood. Surrounded on three sides with residential tenants and apartments, the neighborhood was soon awash in clouds of opaque wood smoke from morning to night. At first some residents thought buildings were on fire in the area. And with the top of their chimney or smokestack lower than our windows and balconies, we were bathed in smoke, soot and odor every day of the week. Leaving a door or window open meant inviting the clouds of swirling gray and brown smoke into one's home, although it seeped in anyways, a silent home invasion of toxicity. All this in a city, North Vancouver, that aims to declare itself the healthiest small city in the world, and whose mayor is a public health nurse. And here it is over 3.5 years later and the daily barrage of wood smoke continues. Multiple times a day. Every day. All year long. Nothing has stopped the smoke. Not the near-daily complaints, video submitted to regulators of air quality and enforcement. No regulations are enforced to stop the restaurant from causing harms. Our lives and health are no match for the money-making business of wood-fired pizza. We are worth less than a cord of wood in the eyes of bureaucrats and institutions who can open their windows fearlessly to the sunshine and air. Metro Vancouver told me that, after 3.5 years and counting, the restaurant was recently sold to new owners, and because of this fact, they needed to start over and work with this new owner on mitigation. So, in other words, because they failed to take action for years and years, they were in essence nullifying my previous complaints and efforts for enforcement of air quality regulations to work with the new owner. Tags, wood-burning restaurants. The world. Protest against biomass, wood, burning. October 19, 2023. The world is mobilizing against big biomass NRDC in the US, as in Canada, while burning wood pellets to generate electricity is still a relatively small portion of the country's energy is weak. Communities around the world will highlight that the production and export of forest-based biomass threatens communities and the climate. The world is mobilizing against big biomass. This week, communities around the world will highlight that the production and export of forest-based biomass threatens communities and the climate. October 18, 2023. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission Particulates Corporation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. On Thursday, October 19, individuals and organizations around the world will take part in an International Day of Action against big biomass. In demonstrations, briefings, and other actions spanning 6 continents, participants will stress that burning forest-based wood pellets for large-scale energy production harms communities and imperils efforts to fight climate change. Communities will urge governments in many countries to prevent carbon-storing forests from being turned into wood chips, and to implement global safeguards that prevent forest-based biomass from being treated as a climate solution at moments like this year's climate COP. Some of the key geographies where NRDC is working with partners to fight the threats of biomass include the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. The US and Canada have become major players in the forest biomass economy, ranking first and third respectively in global exports of wood pellets for commercial-scale energy production. The UK is Europe's largest importer of wood pellets. Contrary to hard science, industry maintains that wood pellets from logged forests are a sustainable source of energy. Experts have shown that clear-cutting forests to be exported and burned for biomass is a false climate solution, that it destroys carbon-storing trees and soils, and that these activities will release more CO2 than burning fossil fuels on the timescale that scientists say is critical to reduce emissions. With global temperatures smashing records in 2023, emissions need to fall now to prevent passing dangerous climate tipping points. In countries including Canada and the UK, forest-based biomass also relies heavily on government subsidies that otherwise could expand truly clean energy at a rapid scale or support the protection of natural carbon stores. Yet some countries are buying this false promise. The UK, like many other European countries, is hinging its energy future on importing enormous volumes of forest-based wood pellets, claiming that this will help them achieve net zero emissions. Canada, in turn, exports 90% of the wood pellets it produces, feeding growing international demand from Europe and Asia. Large volumes of pellets used for biomass come from Canadian primary forests, or never industrially disturbed, irreplaceable carbon stores that scientists say need to be protected. Canada's failure to transparently measure and report on the true emissions associated with widespread industrial logging has allowed it to downplay the cost of clear-cutting carbon-rich forests, fostering the false narrative that this logging and biomass production is carbon neutral. In the US, as in Canada, while burning wood pellets to generate electricity is still a relatively small portion of the country's energy portfolio, the logging of trees and manufacturing of wood pellets that are exported overseas is expanding significantly. The industry is not only contributing to the climate crisis, but is an environmental justice threat. Pellet mills in the U.S. disproportionately harm vulnerable communities that are already suffering from environmental injustices. They emit dangerous air pollutants, including soot, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic compounds, and have repeatedly exceeded air pollution limits. Communities are reporting significant health impacts. In the southeastern U.S., pellet mills are more than 50% more likely to be located in high-poverty communities of color. As one example of the industry's expansion in the U.S., the wood pellet industry is increasing its geographical reach into California to better serve markets in Japan and South Korea. The industry track record of environmental injustice threatens to continue as the proposed port location of Stockton is in the 99th percentile statewide for pollution burdens. This community, ranked as within the top 5 of disadvantaged communities in California, is demanding their commissioners block the project proposed by Golden State Natural Resources. On October 19, communities around the world will come together united against forest-based biomass, stressing its risks to communities and the climate. The question is, will governments listen? Manager of Ecosystems Policy, Canada Project, International Program. Deputy Director, Global Biodiversity Conservation, Nature Program. Forest Advocate, Nature Program. Alabama, wood pellet mill. Alabama wood pellet mill seeks millions in climate funds, but critics say it won't cut CO2. Inside Climate News. The wood pellets produced at EPES would be ground up from whole or partial trees and shipped overseas to countries where burning the wood pellets in. By one estimate, European countries spend €16 billion, $17 billion, of taxpayer funds per year on subsidies for wood-burning biomass energy too. New York, Wellsville. October is Fire Prevention Month at Facet Lane Lumber in Wellsville, the Wellsville Sun. October is National Fire Prevention Month for a good reason. We are all turning on the furnace or burning wood or plugging in some supplemental heat. United States and wildfire smoke. Here's how smoke chemicals linger in homes after a wildfire. Cosmos Magazine. Cosmos Magazine. U.S. researchers have published a new paper asking how chemicals from the smoke linger in homes long after the fires have passed by burning pine wood. United States PM 2.5 and biomass. The world is mobilizing against big biomass. NRDC. In the U.S., as in Canada, while burning wood pellets to generate electricity is still a relatively small portion of the country's energy is weak, communities around the world will highlight that the production and export of forest-based biomass threatens communities and the climate. New Zealand, Otago winter exceedances in air quality standards, ORC VOXI PM10 include solid or liquid particles from vehicle, industry, and home heating emissions such as wood fires, as well as from natural sources. The Otago Regional Council has found there were 21 breaches of national air quality standards this winter, for more than in 2022, but still lower than the average 33 exceedances between 2018 and 2021. United Kingdom. Why clean air is a luxury that many can't afford. BBC. Future in high-income countries, air pollution from PM 2.5 is the leading cause of premature death from environmental causes, says Stephen Pulaski. United Kingdom. Wood-burning stoves, pollution and health impacts, which.co.uk. We take a look at whether log burners and multi-fuel stoves create pollution. Find out how wood-burning stoves affect the environment. China, Jilin estimation of health risk and economic loss attributable to PM 2.5 and O3 pollution in Jilin Nature. Abstract. Ambient pollutants, particularly fine particulate matter, PM2.5, and ozone, O3, pose significant risks to both. India, Mumbai IN photos, Mumbai's Chakala and Vile Par reports very poor air quality, AQI above 330 midday. Mumbai News. PM2.5 and PM10. Share. The data further reveals that the most prominent pollutant in Mumbai is PM2.5 and PM10. While the most prominent pollutant. India, Mumbai smog hangs in Mumbai air, its AQI worse than Delhi's. The Times of India. The AQI measures the count of the concentration of carcinogenic particulate matter, PM2.5 in the air. Mumbai's AQI was 115 on Monday while Singapore haze situation update, October 18, 2023, NEA. As at 5 p.m., the 1-hour PM2.5 concentration readings were 5 to 12 micrograms per cubic meter, in band I, normal, and the 24-hour PSI was 52 to 64, in the moderate range. Update. Thailand, Bangkok. Unhealthy levels of air pollution return in Bangkok. Xinhua. The accumulation of PM2.5 was due to the approaching winter season, which brings high-pressure systems and stagnant air, the PCD said in a Thailand, Bangkok air pollution warning for Bangkok in winter season. Pattaya Mail. The Department of Pollution Control has reported unhealthy levels of PM2.5 in several parts of Bangkok and its surrounding areas. PM2.5 and alternatives to wood burning. This stylish space heater is an oscillating miracle that warms my living room in 5 minutes. People, I don't have a wood burning or electric fireplace to snuggle next to in my living room, so a space heater is my go-to. It's a fantastic option for PM2.5 and Clean Air Night. Clean Air Night launched as winter counterpart to Clean Air Day. Air quality news. Wood burning. Clean Air Night will bust key myths about wood burning by providing information. Indiana, Fremont. Article against leaf burning, suggesting composting instead. There are plenty of good reasons to leave the leaves outdoors. KPC News. This oak tree, seen in Brennan Woods, Clear Lake, has many leaves to drop. Homeowners are urged to compost or mulch their leaves as opposed to burning. This oak tree, seen in Brennan Woods, Clear Lake, has many leaves to drop. Homeowners are urged to compost or mulch their leaves as opposed to burning them. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity and relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates Corporation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. In addition to being illegal in many areas, leaf burning leads to air pollution and is a health and fire hazard. The smoke from burning leaves contains a number of toxic and irritating particles and gases. A study released in 2008, funded by the Austrian Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Environment and Water Management, showed that leaf burning created more airborne organic matter than wood smoke. In addition, sugar alcohols were found in notable concentrations in leaf burning samples, which were not found in wood smoke. The tiny particles contained in smoke from burning leaves can accumulate in the lungs and stay there for years, say medical professionals. These particles can increase the risk of respiratory infection, as well as reduce the amount of air reaching the lungs, says a Purdue University report. For those who already suffer from asthma and other breathing disorders, leaf burning can be extremely hazardous. Moist leaves, which tend to burn slowly, give off more smoke than dry leaves. These moist leaves are more likely to also give off chemicals called hydrocarbons, which irritate the eyes, nose, throat and lungs. Some of these hydrocarbons are known to be carcinogenic. An article posted last October by the United States Department of Agriculture encourages people to leave the leaves. Fall leaves left on the lawn create a natural mulch that suppresses weeds and enhances soil quality. Microorganisms are the life of soil, and they need food and nutrients all the time. The more leaves left on your garden, the more feed for these microorganisms that make soil healthier and plants grow stronger. As the leaves decay, they add organic matter back into the soil, which lessens the need for fertilizer, says the article, written by Brooke Franklin of the Natural Resources Conservation Service. Leaves produce a rich soil amendment that keeps the earth healthy. In most places, the amount of leaves that fall from the trees will not kill the lawn grass. Lawn grass is pretty hard to kill. The leaves can be chopped with the lawn mower, just like mowing grass, and left to decay over the winter. They can also be moved to a garden or compost pile. The Northeast Indiana Solid Waste Management District collects organic debris year-round at the Ashley Convenience Center, 2320 WCR 800S, and Steuben County Convenience Center at Crooked Lake, 2251 W, 175N, Angola. Yard waste compost sites in Kendallville and DeKalb County remain open through mid-November. and also open briefly after the holiday season to collect Christmas trees. Hours of operation are listed on the district website at niswmd.org. The yard waste collected will be turned into compost that can be purchased for $20 per cubic yard starting in April. You can repurpose your leaves into rich soil, or you can take it to a NISM site to be turned into compost for others to use. It is a low-footprint way to deal with fall leaves.